Hello and welcome. Today we are traveling, so we are trying to get to our hotel before the flight the following day, and it should have been a simple drive that ended up taking over 4 hours. So this trip and this drive is actually part of the Billund Brick or Treat event. Yes, it's been uploaded extremely late. I got to Billund the last 2 days the park was open, and I wanted to get some of the footage of the park uploaded first before I actually did the travel one. Normally I start with the travel just to keep it nice and simple for you all to follow, but it wasn't the case with this one. But because this was just absolute chaos, this video actually was supposed to be going from the airport to the airport like I've done previously and just seeing how smoothly it ran. But because it took so long to get to the airport, I have just split it up into 2 videos. So within this video you do have the accommodation, which is obviously always important for everybody to see, and the accommodation was in such a good location for the actual short stay car park as well. So I think I stayed at the Days Inn. There is the opposite hotel to where I stayed last time, so if you caught that video, but they are actually in the same bit. This one, funny enough, is under a full refurb, so we'll get to see what that looks like later on within the video. But we do have a very good look around, but I thought it'd be quite good to show you just how bad if you hit the traffic wrong, or if there is an accident or something like that, how much extra time you might have to give yourself with regards to getting there. I think this was just one of those cases where nothing really went right and all the roads were just pure misery on the time that I went. This was travelling up on a Friday night, which is never good because I was then there Saturday, stayed in Billund Saturday night, and then came back Sunday. But because I was unsure of all the roadworks and everything else, I just wanted to get there slightly earlier because it was a very busy week. So it's not something I normally do. I don't normally stay at the hotel the night before, even though actually this time I felt massively refreshed rather than trying to stay up all night and then sort of go early hours of the morning. But yes, the location of this hotel was brilliant. It did not take very long to get to the short stay at all. There is actually 2 routes that you can take. Now the last video that I did was from the hotel where I stayed and then got to the short stay car park. We are going to that exact same car park, but we actually end up taking a completely different way because the road was actually open. So it's pure misery getting from here to the actual hotel, but from the hotel onwards it's absolutely fine. But you can see I've actually pulled off the motorway now, and we're about to go into the service station. I'm sure I'm going to complain to the camera and show you what the burger and everything's like in a second, and then I will go back into a voiceover. But this should have been easily the halfway mark. It was the halfway mark, but it took over 2 hours to get to this point. And I thought, looking at the traffic, and it was one of those where you were looking at the sat nav and it was just going up and up and up, minute by minute. So you're looking at it, and every second it was adding on another minute, and that is never good fun. That's not something that you really want to have happen to you. Now, you know, it's just all the misery when you drive around the corner and then you join a queue to get into the service station. This service station it's a nice size, it's perfect, but everybody seems to want to park in the same place. If you go in and just go to the far left, there's loads of parking spaces. And if you drive past the front door to the right-hand side, there's probably at least another 50 or 60 parking spaces as well. But everybody always bottlenecks up on this bit. And I nearly drove in a straight line thinking, oh, I'm just not going to stop. But then I realised that people were just being a little bit silly. But it's never a good fun scenario. But there's everything at this. So if you've not seen a UK service station before, well, welcome. It's nothing massively exciting, but at least it gives you a better understanding of when it goes wrong. It can go wrong quite bad, just like everything else. I was lucky that actually I did stay in the hotel the night before, just because I've had such a busy week that followed this trip. I needed to make sure that I try to get as much sleep as possible before I went, because obviously I don't really sleep when I am in Billund, just to try and get as much filming and everything done like that. But luckily this wasn't a case of I was just going onto the plane and then flying off, because it could well have been, because if it was with a flight with BA and I was trying to get there for the time that I normally would have left, I probably would have only left about half an hour before this to get to the airport to give myself plenty of time to check in, and I probably would have missed the flight. So not the most ideal scenario. So it's one of those, you sort of risk it as you go. But Stanstead sometimes can be like this. I've never had this problem going to Heathrow, but it has happened to me before going around this bit. but it was very bizarrely busy on the roads at this point. But we'll park up and then you can have a look at what is supposed to be my lunch / early evening dinner. And then eventually, like I said, we will get to the hotel. We will then have a look at the room, which was under construction. I think it was having its first refurb, I think the lady said, in over 20 years. So that'll always be good fun to have a look at. So at least we've got the misery of the tour and then what the room would be looking like before I jumped on the bed and nearly had a spring go through my spine. But at the same time, it was all good because I did have a good night's sleep on the other half of the bed, so it was absolutely fine. But it is what it is. But yeah, hopefully you can have a laugh and enjoy this as we go. So I think once I pulled up, if I remember rightly, I will then go quiet and I'll let you laugh at my lunch and listen to me moan for a little bit, and then I'll catch back up with myself after. Okay, the traffic is horrific. So, pulled over, got one of these. In case you've never seen one in the UK from a service station, that is what it looks like. So, hopefully, I don't get food poisoning before I got on the plane, but I'm about halfway. This is probably the worst drive I think I've done to get to this airport. It's just time of year, but it'll be worth it when we get there. So I will catch back up with you probably in the next car park, which will look basically the same as this, but what should be about 45 minutes away. At the sat-nav at the moment it's saying it's about 150, so that's why I pulled over for this, and then I'll give you the tour of the room. So that was the plan, but this is the reality. It was just even worse than what I imagined. The sat-nav lied because it just got longer and longer. So I said it was about 150, didn't I, from where I was sat, and it should have been about 45 minutes. It was not pretty. As the video gets cut up into shorter chunks, it gets darker and darker, and we're just still back to back, and it just gets worse as well. But it sometimes happens. It catches, you know, it can catch people out. It was just time of year, and there was horrific accident on the opposite side as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but you will notice that in certain parts of this video that there'll be no traffic moving at all to the right hand side. But we go from 50 to 40 to 30 to stop, and it just is pure misery. Now, the point of this video was very much a case of it was only going to be about 20 minutes long in total. That whole 20 minutes was going to be a couple of minutes driving to the hotel, show you around the hotel room, which, just to say early, I could not even find the front door of because it was so dark. And like I said, they're having a full refurb for the first time in 20 years, so you've got all that joy to come towards the end of this video. From the hotel room, it was then going to be a drive to the airport, drive into the airport, and then we're going to go from airport to airport. All nice and simple. It was going to be from the UK to Billund, showing you everything, just a nice smooth video. But this is sometimes the reality of the UK traffic. It's 4 lanes wide, and when things go wrong, they obviously go wrong like they do in absolutely every country. So you know what you got to come with regards to the actual hotel and just me getting completely lost. You'll see what I mean, because it is absolutely pitch black. You will have a look at some Tesla people having arguments over trying to get their Tesla charged, which is always highly entertaining when there's never enough charging points for people, and then me getting lost at the same time as that all kicking off and going on. But the following day, which was going to be all in one of these videos, it was an absolute dream. Woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, had an amazing shower. The hotel is in a perfect place with regards to the actual short stay car park for Stanstead Airport. The drive there was super simple. It was actually, even though I have driven and shown you the drive from the opposite airport to the short stay blue car park before, this time the actual main direct route was open. They weren't doing the roadworks. It was much shorter, much quicker, and it was really, really easy. There's no sort of detour to a slightly longer route. So I think it was like 9 minutes shorter than last time. I think I managed to get to the car park in like 10 minutes. Got to the car park, walked in to the airport, absolutely no problem. I don't think it was raining this time like it was last time, because that's always misery. And then from there, we go into the airport. I managed to get a load of photos for everybody, because I know a lot of people wanted to see the inside of the airport as well. So you've got all of that to come. Then you've got trying to find the terminal and all that fun stuff, which was all a dream, all super easy. And then we land in Billund, so that was all simple. So what should have been just one short video turned into this long carnage thing that you are joining me with now. And then the following video to this was absolutely simple. So it very much depends on time of day, luck of the draw, and everything else, whatever the puns you guys want to come up with. But it is just the reality sometimes that's why you need to give yourself so much time to be able to get there, because I really do think that if I did have an evening flight, I probably would have missed it. It would have been very, very tight. I always give myself enough time to get there anyway, but it would have been close, I think. But you can see now that we are now down to 14 or 70. We are 4 lanes wide, like I said. We get stuck here for a little while, as you will see how quickly it changes. Not the best when you're like this now. Obviously, we've moved on a little bit because the lanes have changed and whatever else. But yeah, not fun and fantastic. But I'm not going to bore you with this for too much longer. Then we will get into the hotel itself. But yes, it isn't very nice. The next bit, I think, then just goes pitch black, I do believe. And we're still not having that much fun or that much progress. But like I said, it could have been a lot worse. We could have just been completely stationary, but luckily we weren't. We were moving, but I'm not 100% sure the reasons why it was like this. This is where I don't get it. I don't know where it's just people that are slowing down to see what was going on to the other side, because none of the lanes or anything were closed. So I'm not 100% sure why, because the second we get past the point of what had happened, it all sped back up again, and it was a little bit easier for a period of time. But it's always good fun following 3 lights facing at you and hoping that one of them doesn't fall out, because how tall they are. Obviously they're all tied down, but it's always an interesting thing to follow. But 40 mile an hour, we're getting there, we're slowly moving. I don't think I did the speed limit the whole time. I don't think there was no 70 mile an hour for the whole of the trip over, but we are making a bit more progress. We're now slowly starting to speed up, which is great, and I don't think we're too far away from actually getting into the services and then getting lost looking for this hotel front door. If you have done this drive before, then obviously let everybody know in the comments below if you know exactly how bad it can be. If you want to share your worst getting stuck in traffic experience with everybody, then obviously please do, because it's always interesting to know what your worst time is. I have not been stuck in traffic so badly that I have had to be spun round on a motorway junction before. I do know somebody that has, and I know it was absolutely disgusting for them because they got stuck in traffic for multiple hours. So I was lucky that I didn't. But this is why I always have little snacks and spare drinks with me just in case. So it is what it is. But top tip for driving about, if you are new to driving, always have a bottle of something before you go away, just in case you do get caught out, because it's not the greatest. And I'm very, very glad that I did have that triple plain cheeseburger and some dodgy fries, shall we say, because I would have been absolutely starving by the time I got to the hotel, because there was not that much to eat snack wise. But that didn't matter because you were on another services, so I could have just gone over, walked through the car park and just grabbed a burger or something from there instead. So like I said, there's two hotels located within the same service station, and both super easy. I probably preferred the room this time round to last time, only because it had a window. The one that I stayed in last time, it didn't have a window, and it just smelled very, very damp in there because of obviously everybody having showers and stuff, and then there's nowhere for the steam or anything to go. I did find it a little bit bizarre that there was no window latch or anything at all, whereas this one, it did, and I was not on the ground level either, so I'm glad that this one did. So out of the two, I would stay at this one again rather than the other one, but that's just because I quite like having a window just to be able to air the room out. But we're off. You can see the misery to the right hand side, it's still going on, but luckily we're now off and we are going, thankfully. So we have got the end, there we go, everybody's now tearing away again, so we can now speed up to the normal speed limit. I told you it would just get darker and darker. We are now pitch black, and we are making now good progress at last to the actual services into the hotel. Followed the wrong sign, actually, I do believe, to start with, and ended up at the wrong hotel to start with. So you can, like I said, it was all misery. So pull into the services, took the wrong sign, so I actually ended up going to the first hotel I went to, not the second. So we do a full loop around those service stations. From there, we'll then pull up, get lost in the Tesla car park as we're looking for the front door, and then from there we'll have a look at the room, we'll go over the shower and everything. The shower was really, really nice. That had just been redone, actually. The lady was telling me that they'd ripped out all the baths and just put in loads of new walk-in showers, and then they're going to be redoing the rest of the rooms as well, by the looks of it. So everything that you see, some of the bits looked absolutely battered and worn out, but all the builders were there, and I think they're going to try and get everything done by the end of this year. So they had a lot of work to do, but it's going to have a full lick of paint, full refurb outside and inside. So it would be very interesting if I do go back there next year and I end up getting an early doors flight again, and the room itself is cost effective, then I will end up doing that. Because normally what I will do is I will just drive there to the airport at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I try and sleep in the truck for an hour or two, and then just go straight in just to try and save money, which obviously everybody wants to try and do. That's what I've always done. This is actually the first time I've done this way. Last time I did it is because I went from Legoland Windsor to Stanstead, and it just made more sense going across, because it would have cost me more in fuel to drive all the way back to then drive all the way up. So we are here. So we are at a welcome break services. So we can now explore this service station, get lost multiple times. This is actually a really long drive into the services as well. I have been to this one once or twice before, so if you are playing UK service station tick, you can now tick this one off your selection of service stations if you've never been to this one before. Lorries were really backed up. I think it's because obviously with all the massive delays for them, they just ended up stopping wherever they could do just to try and get some sleep. I think you can see we are just playing dodge the lorry. They are everywhere, and I was thinking, oh no, it's going to be absolute chaos trying to find the hotel. And it was, because I think I overshot the sign. I think I've already missed it because the lorries were right beside the sign and I couldn't see it. But it is really easy, and it is really clearly marked on the floor as well. But I just was too busy looking around and not really paying attention. But never mind. We just do a quick loop. So you'll see me pull up into the car park, then drive back off again because I'm stupid. Then we park up into the correct car park, because I should have gone straight there and I didn't. That's what I should have done. If I went straight there, the hotel was just to the left-hand side, but instead I'm actually going into the main services and going to the hotel that I went last time, which was not what you want, because I'm being stupid, because I'm going to the wrong hotel currently. But I just do a loop round. I end up parking up, realising my mistake, and then just carrying on, because I am an absolute moron. And then, like I said, we finally get to the hotel room, have a good look around that, have a good look around the actual hotel as well. I've added some photos, I do believe, managed to get some bits and pieces on my phone as well. And just all the fun stuff that you would expect from a top-of-the-range hotel tour after a horrendous drive. I'm trying to think in the back of my head if this was one of the worst drives I've ever done. I think I've done a lot worse than this, but when you're not expecting it, it's just one of those things. I've driven a lot longer before and not been stuck in traffic, and it's never been madness. But when you're expecting to be at the hotel and you think you've got all evening just to relax and chill out, and you can just have a nice bite to eat and go, I'm going to get an early night tonight for an early... No, it was none of that. By the time I'd actually finally got to sleep, it was, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock. So I managed to get about 5 hours. But that would have been 5 hours more than what I would have done if I just tried to sleep in the truck. So if you noticed, that was a very quick edit, because I actually parked into the car park and then just drove straight back out again. I did actually quickly go into the services just to have a quick look. And then now we are driving back round again. You can see all of the big lorries that are just still nose to tail. I felt really, really sorry for them. I bet they were in for a very long night, or they had already had a very long night and they just wanted to find somewhere to fall asleep. So this bit you've actually seen before, because this is the bit that we saw in the last video, because I would have done this early doors. It looked like it was daylight, even though it was 4 o'clock in the morning. That was a very bizarre drive, because you didn't really need your lights on for that, but it was early. So I'm not going to make the same mistake and turn right. I'm going to drive in a straight line, but you can see they've got hazards on. It was an experience. So as we now go forward, we'll stay and don't go left. So you can now see that we're at the same garage again. So I think a lot of people are queuing just to get fuel by the looks of it as well, which again, can you imagine having to stay there for an hour or two just to try and get some petrol or diesel, obviously, just because everybody's turned up at the same time after that accident. But now we're in the correct lane, which is on the left hand side. We'll drive in a straight line, we'll park up, and then you can just see how dark it is, because they'd had no lights on the outside because, like I said, it's all under a full refurb. So I would like to think that they have actually got loads and loads of lights and everything. But this must have been the darkest drive I've ever done to try and find a hotel because nothing's on. It just looked like there was a power cut, and how they had everything hidden around the corner. It was a good bit of fun. But let us know what you think. Let us know what you would think to this with regards to where the front door should have been, because as we pull up to, this is it, this is the car park, and the building is to the right hand side. So if you saw it, well done. There is a sign of days in, which we, there we go. So we are here. She is happy we finally made it. So we will park up, reverse back into the parking space out the way from everybody. Directly in front of us, just to the left-hand side, there is all the Tesla charging points, which when I actually come back to the truck, there are people arguing over, because obviously, like the trucks, everybody wants to charge up at the same time because everybody got stuck in the traffic. The trucks would have been waiting probably a lot less than what some of these cars would have been waiting for. Now, we are walking around. Yes, I am walking. I do have the GoPro on. This is what I could see. This is actually how dark it was. You've got the one spotlight over in the car park. The building is somewhere to my left-hand side. Now, as I first came in, I did see the big light. So I'm walking towards what I thought was the front door. You can cross over the road and go into the cafe and everything. So you can see it there, days in. You can see some of the lights now to the left-hand side. So it has picked up a little bit. So we're walking round this path to what I thought was the front door. So you let me know if you would have done the same thing. No. What I had done is I walked to a dead end. So then I turned the camera off, I came back, and it was so dark it wouldn't pick anything up. At the end of the video, I will show you what I mean. It's one of those. I spent a good while trying to find the front door, but the video was already long enough. I just thought, you're not actually going to be able to see anything. But I walked to what I thought was the front door, and it was just a brick wall. So we are in room 104, I think. It was a nice room. So I just spoke to the lovely lady. She had told me that all of this was having a full refurb for the first time in 20 odd years, and you'll see when we leave exactly why, because it's just building stuff absolutely everywhere. So as we come through, we are now in the room at last. What a trip that was. That's over 4 hours. Right, I have just obviously checked in. Could I find the front door? No. Reason is having a full refurb. Let's find the lights, let's see what there is, and I can turn all this off, and then I can get myself ready for tomorrow. So we have a fan. Okay. It can't be that hard again with the light switches, surely. Alright, I'm not very... Ah, there we go. So, off is on in this one. Yeah, off is whatever. Too tired. Right, so what I'll do is I'll give you a quick tour now. That's really strange. It's obviously... should be another bed in here. Yeah, so and having a full refurb of everything, which is obviously absolutely fine. Price per night was £25 cheaper than the one that was over the road, so that's not too bad, and the room's nice actually. So let's have a quick look at what we have. Really nice shower, which is great. Slip mat, all the other little bits and pieces, so that's always nice. Nice big mirror. It's all nice and clean as you would expect. We've got some towels. And I'm not too sure why that is in here. That's an old school way, but we've got windows. I was hoping for two things. I was hoping for windows and a comfy bed. Oh, it'll do. There's no springs coming through my spine, which is great. So I'm going to go quiet now because I'm far too tired and I've got a very, very early start in the morning. But I will, if I think of anything, I'll do it as a voiceover. But hopefully, guys, so far you have enjoyed it. It was a long one, so what will carry on from here will be me travelling from here to Billund itself. I'm just going to split the videos up, otherwise it's just going to take too long because, yeah, it's not been great, is it? But it is what it is. But we have got, actually, heaters
another heater. So two types of heaters: plug, TV, remote, lights, hairdryer, plug, another light switch that doesn't, oh, unless it does. There you go, light switch. One on the other side. Is there a plug by the bed? No. And that is that.
So the room ticked all the boxes. We'll come back to it in a second, but now we're going to have a quick look around the actual hotel as well, go for a quick explore, just show you what I mean with regards to what the side of the reception area is like, just how far you had to walk to the room and all that kind of stuff. I know it's all been chopped up higgledy-piggledy, but it is what it is, so you just have to bear with it. So we'll now go down the hotel room. We'll see what drinks are on offer. They had 4 or 5 different types of drinks. I think I grabbed the last chocolate bar that was on display, which is always a nice healthy dinner. But like I said, you are directly over the, not you can see it, but you are directly over the road from one of the cafes at the service station, so you could just walk over the road. And I think then what I do is at the end of this video, I then take you out to when it's a little bit lighter, so you can actually see what I walked through and understand why you couldn't really see where you were going. I did film it, but it's just so dark, you're not going to make anything of it whatsoever. That is your sort of main chill out area for the hotel. You've got 4 little seats and the little sort of booklets and pamphlets, and then past where these seats are now, you will then have this little area, which is the main reception area, as we come through, and then we'll just have a quick look at the fridge. So what we got water, Sprite, Oasis, Fanta, and probably Coke. There it is at the top, and that is it. That's all your drinks. Now we're coming to a nice dramatic pan round of the room. Look at that, isn't that absolute class? Now, TV is absolutely tiny, but works absolutely fine. There's no aircon unit. That'll be why there's a fan and a heater and everything in there. But like I said, with that window, absolutely perfect just to air the room off, so there's no smell or anything like that like there was in the other one. Much preferred this room. The only thing is that this is my attempt to make the bed. The only thing is that it was 2 single beds pushed together. One side was horrific with regards to the springs and everything pushing through. The other side was absolutely fine, and the fact that they had now just fully re-put all these walk-in showers rather than the old school baths which were there originally. The shower was perfect, really woke up nicely, and it was really nice. Slept absolutely fine. Now this is the dramatic me leaving, like everybody would do, so just make sure you grab everything before you leave. Just imagine there's some dramatic music within. I didn't need to obviously use the fan, nor did I need to use the heater. The bed, I actually did have a really good night's sleep. The pillows were really comfortable as well. It might have been a different story if there was 2 of you in there, because like I said, that one mattress was out, it had gone, but they are in the process of refurbing everything, so I would imagine that would be replaced very soon. And all the rooms, like I said, will probably have a lick of paint and everything like that. So I'm not too sure how far through this room had been done. I don't know if that shower was brand new or if they were just in the process of doing everything, because that's why they've added in that extra heater, but I don't know. But hopefully you enjoyed that. So this is what you look at when you first leave, and you have massive wastage bins you can see on the left and right hand side. So that is why you couldn't see this entrance, because when you get to the car you can't see anything whatsoever. But guys, that is it. I am done. If you can like and subscribe and all that good stuff, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Yes, it was a very random video, but like I said, the one that will follow a lot smoother, but it is what it is sometimes with the UK traffic. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You guys take care, and I'll get to the next one. Ta-da.